Hello everyone, it's Davide here and welcome back to Learning Finance. In today's video guys, it's Sunday and let's do the crypto update. Let's see with Bitcoin, Ethereum, where we are. So we have seen the Bitcoin crash, crypto crash, and now we are like in a moment where Bitcoin has to decide what to do next, okay? And as well, obviously, other cryptos. I think that the next 10 days at least will be very interesting because Bitcoin has to take a decision whether those lows are enough for this pullback or not. So I think that Bitcoin and cryptos are loading the next move. So in today's video guys, we are gonna take a look at the cyclical analysis, technical analysis, where we are today, what am I actually doing. The only thing I ask you is please leave me another like, it's very important and I thank you for it, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new updates. Let's begin. Alright guys, so let's start with obviously Bitcoin, then we are gonna take a look at Ethereum as well, and probably also Dogecoin, okay, if we have time. Now, Bitcoin, if you have seen previous videos, I went on with explaining you my idea with cyclical analysis, Bitcoin coming on to the close of an annual cycle, which started basically in March 2020 with the pandemic. Usually those cycles last a little bit more than 450 days, and I told you how the expiration date of that period it should be between the 15th of June, actually between the 2nd and the 3rd week of June. Now, today is the 6th. We have seen that Bitcoin, after this interesting retracement over there, touched around 30k, and since then is literally stuck. Okay, we have seen a bounce back, but then it's got rejected by the 200 moving average, and now a little bit bounce once again, rejected once again. So it's in this sideways line, trying to decide on what to do next. If you follow the channel, if you saw like a couple of updates ago, I showed you the Wyckoff cycle. One thing I see that people are literally copying and pasting the Wyckoff cycle on graphs, okay? Now that, in my opinion, doesn't make much sense. Anyway, it's just my opinion, because the markets, they never do exactly the same stuff. The main idea of the Wyckoff cycle and what Wyckoff was trying to explain is that markets have accumulation phases, markup, markdown, distribution phases, and all that kind of stuff, okay? So that's the important stuff. By the way, the exact movements are kind of like impossible to match up in the future. Anyway, the important thing is that Bitcoin has to decide whether this is going to be a redistribution phase in order to then trying to break below the 30k level and officially declare the bear market. Because as of now, despite this huge pullback, well, Bitcoin is not yet officially in a bear market. The bear market starts when Bitcoin will break below 29, okay? Those lows that it made over there. So as of now, guys, there is still, yes, the possibility that Bitcoin can start another cycle, so declare that this annual cycle has finished. How? Well, maybe by doing a double bottom. Okay, but not falling too deep below those previous levels. So testing those lows, seeing that those lows are enough, and say, well, you know what, from now on, let's continue the upside movement. But the second way, the second scenario is that, well, Bitcoin could try to test again those levels. Those levels will not be enough for the market, and well, we're gonna make new lows, and if we confirm the close below those 30k, 29k levels over there, well then I think that we are gonna need to be patient before seeing Bitcoin forming new highs. In terms of cyclical analysis, guys, we are in the point, as I told you before, that where Bitcoin must take a decision sooner or later. When we take a look at the long-term cycles, so the annual cycle, we see those are 459 days, now 460 days, okay, just obviously it's an indication, okay, now it's not as we watch. And when we come back to short-term period, I told you how usually Bitcoin does those, monthly cycles. We can see those pretty clearly. And if you remember, I told you how there was gonna be still time from those lows to make basically another monthly cycle. Its task is the one to tells us, are those lows enough or not? Okay, so that's the task, in my opinion. Obviously, guys, this is just my opinion. I might be completely wrong, but, well, what I expect is that for this last cycle to tell us whether those are enough or not. Today is the 6th, so the next 10 days, as we can see, are going to be extremely important. Around the 15th of June, so it might be the 14th, 15th, 16th, okay, up until the 20th at least. I think that Bitcoin must take a decision and must show us whether those lows are enough or not, very likely by trying to form a double bottom. We see that the downside pressure, the selling pressure, it's kind of tough around this area, okay? The first time it came back around 42.7k, and then second time always rejected by the 200 moving average. The second time it is not even able to go above that. The third time even weaker. So the downside pressure is increasing, and I think that it's time to test whether the 30k is enough. What is the next key level, in my opinion, is 34,000. Okay, so if in the next few days, okay, 2 or 3 days, we see Bitcoin breaking below 34, well then, yes, a test of a double bottom is extremely likely. That would be probably the best case, okay? So trying to test again those lows and declare that they are enough. If we close too deep below those levels, guys, well, then be careful. In terms of operation, what is the right thing to do right now? Well, in my opinion, as I told you in previous video, I'm still in the same idea. The first one is obviously a dollar cost average. So you wait for red days, you have a plan in front of you, and you decide, okay, I'm gonna buy once a month for the next 5 months, okay, or twice a month, whatever you want, but having a plan to dollar cost average, so that even though Bitcoin will go through a little bit of sideways or possibly even trying to go down, close the cycle, all that kind of stuff, remain depressed for a while. Well, at the end, if you have a plan of dollar cost averaging, it doesn't matter actually where you buy, because you're going to have an average entry price which is decent. And that's probably the best strategy if you are new to the market and if you don't want to actually pay too much attention and be stressed. Otherwise, guys, well, we have breakouts. And breakouts, in my opinion, for Bitcoin, this 42 level over there, the 200 moving average, remain an extreme important level. As long as Bitcoin doesn't show us, then it can break above here. In my opinion, the risk that it will continue to trend lower or stay flat is very high. As long as it doesn't do that, well, the likelihood to move lower and to test again 30k and possibly even break those levels remains high. Another thing that you could do, which is technically correct, but it always has a risk, is that basically if Bitcoin tries to test again those levels, you can decide to jump in a position actually here, okay? And your idea is that those lows are gonna be enough, double bottom, and then Bitcoin will react and do another annual cycle, okay? Hopefully positive. The thing is that if Bitcoin doesn't bounce back, doesn't form a double bottom, but closes below those levels, well, you can end up being stuck. But this is perfectly fine if you add to this decision, to this move to trying to buy the double bottom, a dollar cost average plan, okay? So that overall you're not gonna be in problem. What is, in my opinion, the dumbest thing to do is buying a lump sum in between, okay? So in between, without a breakout signal and without a test of the actually bottom over there, okay? So buying, for example, today, lump sum over there is like flipping a coin. You don't really know. Now let's also take a look at Ethereum as well, which is very important in my opinion to understand the overall outlook on altcoins. And now this downtrend line, basically, in my opinion, it is just something to make us understand about the trend, but it's not very significant because it doesn't have much touching points. You see how it's trying to struggle over there a little bit, but anyway, I will not consider that one very much in terms of breaking out for buying signal. In my opinion, as I told you in previous video, the real first important point for Ethereum is around basically 2980, okay, over there. This one, this green line over there, which breaking above that will also mean breaking once again above the 50 moving average. So showing at least a first sign of strength for Ethereum over there. Obviously, the next big risk in the road is 3171 over there. We are seeing trying to bouncing back, but then here it went higher, and then here it was not be able to reach those previous levels, and here as well continued to remain lower. This time it didn't even pass the 50 moving average, meaning that the downside pressure, the selling pressure around this area is getting stronger and stronger. That's why actually, in order to understand whether Ethereum is changing his mind and it's ready to confirm this as a bottom, it needs to break above those levels. Obviously, as I told you about Bitcoin, here is the same. Dollar cost average is probably the best and easiest strategy if you don't want to be too much involved with the price action. Then the same stuff. If Ethereum will try, probably move back below and test those levels to try to understand whether those are enough or not, well, you can then try to buy basically near those lows, okay, hoping for a double bottom to come, but in between, okay, so buying the lump sum in between, well, in my opinion here as well, it doesn't make sense because it's like flipping a coin, okay, so exactly the same stuff as I told you about Bitcoin. Now let me just take a look at Dogecoin. I never bought Dogecoin, but I know that there are lots of people interested, so let's take a look. Now, in previous videos, I told you how this level actually between 0.38 and 0.391 was actually a possible first sign of Dogecoin changing his mind. Now, what is the risk about that? As I explained to you in previous videos, well, for Dogecoin, the real breakout is this one, 0.59, which is over there, as I told you, like in probably the first video that I made about crypto on the channel. Now, the problem with these altcoins is that they are extremely speculative. But anyway, after this hype Coinbase move over there, I will consider very likely this new level, this new high that we reached on the 2nd of June as the new 0.59, okay, so as the new significant level to break for Dogecoin, which is exactly 0.4436. Alright, so over there. But the fact, guys, is that altcoins, they tend to be extremely extremely volatile, but as long as we have weakness on Bitcoin and especially Ethereum, lots of them can just make huge swings, but just because of volatility. I will feel more comfortable with altcoins when I see a breakout on Ethereum. Okay, so that's why I usually do not pay much attention to the graphs of smaller altcoins, even though there are some of them that I really like, for example, Cardano. Anyway, guys, I hope you find the video interesting, and what do you think? Leave me down a comment. Will Bitcoin try to test again those lows or not? What do you expect in the coming days? Subscribe to the channel if you want, and as always, guys, have a wonderful day.